If you are over 50 and your hair is thinning, there is a very good chance you are chasing the wrong culprit. Take Biotin. Maybe you are swallowing a Biotin gummy every morning right now, wondering why nothing is changing. So let me... For the vast majority of people, Biotin deficiency is genuinely rare. Meanwhile, the actual deficiency, driving so much of the thinning I see in patients over 50, is something else entirely. It is quiet. It is extraordinarily common. Most people who have it feel checked unless you specifically ask. How it silently strangles your hair, how to know if you have it, and precisely how to end. Because I am also going to tell you the single most common, the one that means they take it for months and still see no results. Your doctor has probably never walked you through any of this, not because they are hiding it. Alan Brooks. I have spent 35 years as a hair and scalp, and more than 10,000 patients have sat across my desk worried about thinning hair. And I will tell you what pushed me to make this video. In my office, already spending money on serums, doing everything the internet told them, and getting nowhere. While the real problem sat hidden in their... When I finally tested for it, the same deficiency turned up. In many of those patients, the shedding slowed. Not for everyone, but often enough that I now consider it one of the first where I say what I never have time to say in a 15-minute. You run your fingers through your hair after a shower and count what comes away. You notice your part looks a little wider under the bathroom light. You see your scalp in a photo and your stomach drops a little. And you have quietly blamed it on age. Told yourself this is just what you're... Hear this. It may not be age at all. Signaling to you through your hair for a long time. And that is fixable. But before I tell you what it is, let me first take Biotin off the table properly, because you deserve to understand why the thing everyone recommends is usually the wrong tree to bark up. Biotin, also called vitamin B7, is genuinely important for hair. That part is true. Makes next, that if a little is essential, then flooding your body with mega doses must grow more hair. It does not work. Real biotin deficiency does normal diet, because biotin is found in eggs, nuts, seeds, and many everyday foods, and your gut bacteria even produce some for you. So unless you have a specific medical condition, you are almost certainly not deficient. And there is a real downside. Biotin can interfere with common lab tests, including thyroid tests and, critically, the blood test used to diagnose a heart attack, which can cause dangerous confusion in an emergency. So you're taking a pill that probably does nothing for your hair and could mislead your doctor when it matters most. That is why I want your attention on the real culprit instead. So here it is. The single most common and most overlooked deficiency behind hair loss in people over 50, in my experience, is vitamin D. And I know it sounds almost too simple, the sunshine vitamin. The one you assume you get. Because the reality is startling. And hits so hard. Let me first explain what vitamin D actually does inside. Makes everything click. We tend to think of vitamin D as being about bones, and it is. No one talks about. Your hair follicles contain vitamin D receptors, little docking stations built specifically to receive it. And research suggests that vitamin D plays a direct role in waking up dormant follicles and pushing them to begin a new growth cycle. Remember, your hair grows in cycles. Each follicle grows for a few years, then rests, then sheds, and starts again. Vitamin D is one of the signals that helps kick a resting follicle back into its growing phase. So when vitamin D runs low, follicles can get stuck in their resting state, unable to restart. They do not necessarily die. They go quiet. And a scalp full of quiet, stalled follicles looks exactly like thinning hair. Think of vitamin D as the key that turns the ignition on each follicle's engine. Without enough keys, more and more your hair gets thinner and thinner, even though the follicles themselves. And there is a second layer to how vitamin D protects your hair. Vitamin D is one of the most, and it helps keep inflammation in check across your whole body, including your cells. Low-grade, hidden inflammation around the follicle is one of the quiet forces that pushes hair back strong. When vitamin D is low, that inflammatory break comes to a place for growth. Forms of hair loss, where the body's own immune system mistakenly attacks the follicles, because without enough vitamin D to keep it more likely to misfire. So vitamin D is doing two jobs at once for your hair. It is turning the ignition keys to wake dormant follicles, and it is acting as a peacekeeper, calming the inflammation that would otherwise sabotage them. When it runs low, you lose both protections at the same time, which is exactly why its absence hits hair so hard. Now, here is why this deficiency is so sneaky, and why I call it the silent one. First, most people who are low on vitamin D feel completely fine, or they feel a little tired and a little low and chalk it up to age or stress, never connect. Second, and this is the part that anyone expects, especially over 50, and for reasons that stack up against you as you age, our skin becomes dramatically less effective, sometimes produce. On top of that, older adults tend to wear sunscreen, which, while important for skin cancer protection, also blocks vitamin D production. If you live somewhere with your skin makes almost no for many reasons, also means you need more sun exposure to make the same amount of vitamin D. Add it all together. Walking around low, with no idea, watching their hair thin and blaming everything except the actual cause. Before I show you how to confirm it and fix it, let me give you something useful, because you're probably wondering right now whether this could be you. While the only way to know for certain is a blood test, there are other quiet clues that often travel alongside low vitamin D, and hair thinning is rarely the only one. Think about whether any of these sound familiar. A persistent, low-grade tiredness that sleep does not seem to fix, muscles that feel weak or achy, or a general heaviness in your legs when you climb stairs, bones or joints that ache in a dull, hard-to-locate way, getting sick more often than you used to, catching every cold that goes around because vitamin D is deeply involved in immune function, a low or flat mood, particularly through the to vitamin D, and Now, none of these prove anything on their own, and plenty of things can cause them. But if you are watching your hair thin and you also recognize 2 or 3 of these, that is a strong reason to move this test to the top of your most visible signal, but it is usually. Listen to the whole picture. Before I show you how to confirm it and fix it, do something for me right now. Type in the comments whether you have ever had your vitamin D level actually tested, yes or no. And tell me your age. I think the number of you who have never had it checked is going to be eye-opening, both for you and for everyone reading. Let me tell you about Margaret, because her story is the one I think about. 62, a retired teacher who came to my clinic genuinely upset about her thinning hair. She had been taking Biotin faithfully for over a year. She had switched to an expensive thickening shampoo, and she had seen no improvement at all, which had left her feeling defeated and a little hopeless. Her part had widened, and she told me she had simply accepted. Something about the pattern made me want to look deeper, so we ran a full panel. Her biotin was perfectly normal, which is exactly why her vitamin D was severely low. Perfectly. She worked indoors. She was diligent about sunscreen, and she lived through long gray winters. We worked with her physician to else about her routine. Was her a miracle. But and new growth began filling in along her part. The biotin had never been the problem. So let me tell you exactly how to handle this, step by step, because this is where it becomes real. The first and most important step is simple. Do not guess, and do not start megadosing vitamin D on your own. This matters because unlike water-soluble vitamins, vitamin D is fat-soluble, which means your body stores it, and taking very high doses without guidance can build up to harmful levels over time. So step 1 is to see your doctor and ask, specifically, for a blood test called a. That is the accurate one. Ask for the number. Because many people are technically in the low normal zone, that is enough for basic function, but may not be optimal for hair. Mention that you are experiencing hair thinning, so your doctor understands why you are asking. Transforms a rushed appointment into a useful one. To give you the exact words to walk in with. Once you know your number, your doctor can guide you on correcting it, and there are 3 levers. The first is sensible sunlight, short, regular exposure without burning, which is how your body was designed to make vitamin D. The second is food, fatty fish like salmon. Sources, along with egg yolks and fortified cereals. The honest truth, though, is that it is difficult to correct a real deficiency through food and sun alone, especially in winter or if you are significantly low, which brings us to the third lever. A vitamin D supplement, at a dose your doctor recommends based on your actual blood level, is often the most reliable way to bring a true deficiency back up. And here is a professional tip most people never hear. Vitamin D is fat-soluble, so it absorbs far better when you take it with a meal that contains some fat, rather than on an empty stomach. A supplement taken with breakfast that includes eggs, or with a dinner that has some healthy fat, will actually get into your system, instead of largely passing through. Very start, the one that causes people to fix their vitamin up convinced it did not work. Driven by a misunderstanding. Vitamin D. You are turning those ignition keys and waking up dormant follicles. But a follicle that has just been switched back on does not produce a visible head of hair the next week. It has to move through its cycle, push out a new hair, and grow it out. And hair grows for the first several weeks, and often little on the surface, even though the important work is happening underneath. Most people quit right there in that silent window, deciding it failed, when in reality they were weeks away. Is this: expect reduced shedding first. First visible new growth somewhere around month 3 to 4, and expect a real, honest verdict on density somewhere between month 6 and month 12. Correcting a deficiency is not a switch you flip for instant hair. It is a foundation you rebuild, and foundations take time. One thing, doctor to viewer, before you change anything. Everything I have described here is a common pattern I see, not a diagnosis for your specific situation, because hair loss has many possible causes, and only proper evaluation can tell you what is truly driving yours. Vitamin D deficiency is one important and overlooked cause, but it is not the answer. Do testing, because it is fat-soluble and can build up to harmful levels. And if your hair is falling out suddenly, in patches, or alongside other symptoms, please see your doctor, because that deserves a proper look. I'm a doctor, but I am not your doctor. This is where hope either holds or breaks. If your thinning is being driven, even in part, by watching an unstoppable clock run down, you are looking at a single correctable gap, a missing key, and keys can be replaced. But you have to do two things that most people fail to do. First, actually get tested, instead of guessing and throwing Biotin at the problem. And second, once you correct it, have the patience to let your biology catch up, through that silent window where nothing seems to be happening but everything is. The people who get their hair back are almost never the ones with the best luck or the most expensive products. Test it at the source, and then simply refuse. Because this was never only about hair. It is about refusing to accept a story you were told about aging, understanding what your body has actually been asking for, and taking back a measure of control you did not. Appointment. Ask for that specific test by name. Turns out to be. Type your age too. I read every single one. Take care of yourself. I will see you in the next one.